Okay. So the meeting is called to order. It is 5:32 p.m. Let's go around for introductions and recognitions. Hi, I'm Denise. I'm the chair of the committee, and I'm going to just call each person out, and we'll kind of quickly go through. I think most everybody knows each other, but we'll just kind of work our way around. Jocelyn.
Hi, everyone. I am Jocelyn Santiago. I work for Mansfield Youth Services as the Early Childhood Services Coordinator and the Mansfield School Readiness Liaison.
Thank you. Kathleen.
Hello, Kathleen Kreider, Access Community Action Agency.
Thank you. Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Vellis. I'm one of the Youth Services Librarians for the Mansfield Public Library.
Thank you. Shamim. And this is Cole.
Hi, Cole. Shamim Katwa, the Director of Student Support Services.
Go ahead and say hi quickly.
Hi guys. Hey, what's each your favorite Minecraft mobs?
So unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about that right now. You're gonna go with Daddy. Mommy is gonna do the meeting.
Just tell me what your favorite ones
Okay.
are. Okay.
Well, I'll ask them. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Marianne.
Hi everyone, I'm Marianne Lagasse, and I'm the director at UPenn Child Labs. I was a teacher there for close to 20 years, and I'm new to the director role.
Welcome. Thank you. Charles.
Hi, I'm Charles Alsberger. I'm ex officio from Town Council.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Oops, sorry. Katie, you want to go next?
Bell, she, her, hers, from Mansfield Youth Services, and I will do a recognition for Jocelyn and Sarah tag teaming together Jocelyn's very first school readiness grant application, on top of the OEC throwing out a lot of random things for Jocelyn to tackle and take on in a very last minute capacity, and just jumping right into that learning bit, and Sarah being there to help guide as well.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Well done. And thank you for your hard work. Erin? I'm sorry, Erin. I think that you are still muted.
Sorry about that. Erin from Mount Hope Montessori. And also I want to give a shout out to Jocelyn, who's been helping us and helping me through some school readiness things that I'm very excited about. And also thanks to Emily for coming to visit our school and sharing some books.
Excellent. Thank you. Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Sarah Dufresne, Adult Services, Town of Mansfield, and Mansfield Mom, and all of the other things. Hello. And I want to recognize, as usual, all of you. Thank you for being amazing. And Charlie, so good to see you here.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, everybody moved around on my screen. So I'm just gonna, Emily, I think you're next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily. I'm along with Rachel, the other youth services librarian at the Mansfield Public Library, and I'm excited to be here again. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think that's everybody.
Yes.
All right. So item 3 is public comments. Are there any public comments?
No.
Okay. Great. No public comments. Item 4 is approval of the minutes from March 1st. Did everybody get a chance to look through the minutes, or would you like to take a moment now to look through them? Okay, let me rephrase that. Does anybody have any additions or changes that you'd like to make to the minutes from last month? No? Okay, great. So that means that we are going to approve the minutes by consensus. Great. All right, so moving on to item 5, the School Readiness Council items. I'm going to turn it over to Jocelyn.
Yes. So I want to start by saying thank you to the center directors that are here, and also thank you to the others that are not here tonight for your hard work and timeliness of getting all of your application materials into me. I know it was a renewal year this year, so the application process was streamlined very significantly, and I hope that it felt easy for you all to complete. I just finished this week compiling everything and getting everything into that one community spreadsheet. Sarah and I are going to meet tomorrow to just go over everything before I submit and make sure everything looks good. But with the ease of the application this time around, I'm pretty confident that it all is put in the way it should be, but it's still good to meet with Sarah and we'll have a conversation about it just to double check everything before we submit. I did put on the agenda that I wasn't sure if we needed to vote to submit it or to continue funding these centers.
Yep. So we have to officially vote as MAC to officially fund the centers as proposed by them. So we kind of just go through each center and we don't have to name any like amounts or spaces, but we would just kind of go through and say, I mean, again, you could do a quick update about like where we are with spaces, because that's kind of super cool. And then what we do is you just go through each center and you would just, someone would make a motion to approve the fiscal year 24 school readiness budget for that site. And then everyone would vote, and that's kind of how it works. And again, that is always set by the spaces that each center has. So that usually does not shift unless a child leaves the center and takes the space with them. And again, that's pretty rare. And I'll let Jocelyn share the exciting news because it is really exciting.
Yes, so as we talked about in our last MAC meeting, the OEC put out a survey offering centers to request additional spaces. They were looking at reallocating some spaces all across the state. This past year, only 84% of school readiness slots across the state were being used. So they were looking to kind of fill those gaps. Over the last 6 years, that number has been getting less and less and less of a percentage of usage. So happy to announce that all Mansfield centers that did request additional spaces were granted all of the spaces they did request. So previously we had 25 slots and now we have 32 for Mansfield. So very excited about that. And I've been working really hard with the directors to get families that are, on the wait list and filling out applications and moving them onto the grant as soon as we can. Those spaces became available to the centers for their April reporting period. So as soon as now we can get kids moved into those spaces. So it's really exciting and everyone's really happy about it. So I'm glad that we got those spaces we asked for.
Jocelyn, I have a quick question, and I can appreciate if you don't know the answer. Is the OEC saying why only 87% and why there's this downturn?
So there's a lot of reasons that they were kind of wondering about. A lot of people are just moving into a more like private nanny situation rather than a full center care style or relying on just family members to help care for their children. They saw the biggest change since the COVID pandemic had hit. After those years, it just kept dropping. So they weren't sure if it was just families kind of having uneasiness about getting back into the center with all of these children. And there's also really large districts that have hundreds and hundreds of slots available to them. And a lot of those districts also leave a buffer of some open spaces in case there are families that have a really high need that are coming on to the grant or joining their center late in the year. They're leaving those spaces open as a buffer. That way they can move those high need families onto it. So the thing is with that is the double-edged sword. If we're leaving that buffer, but no one comes to us, then those spaces just stay open. So they tried to find a nice balance where there could be that buffer for those bigger districts, but also let's reallocate some spaces to other districts that could use them right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting to hear.
Just to piggyback on that, Kathleen,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, a lot of the larger districts during COVID, some of the bigger cities,
Mhm.
they did a lot of public schools and public preschools, and a lot of those did consolidate or they just kind of closed down during the pandemic. So it freed up. So if each of these districts, like Jocelyn said, had 250, 300 spaces, and then they're not using 25,
Mhm.
that's a huge percentage when you add up to it.
Mhm.
So like we were just awarded a total of 6 more, right? 6 additional spaces.
7.
7 additional spaces. So for, for us, that's huge. We started with 16 spaces
Right.
and now we're at, so we doubled that. We're at 32 over these past 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
But for these bigger districts, they have months where they go 32 spaces unfilled.
Mhm.
So we kind of got very lucky in the fact that we were able to take advantage of the fact that we do keep our spaces filled.
Mhm.
We very, very rarely, I think in the 5 years I was in that position, I really honestly can say there might have been a month or 2 months that we didn't fill a space.
Mhm. And that might be really, if the OEC is not seeing that in the data, right? And so I don't know, maybe they are because of the reallocation, but if they're not seeing that by that, what I mean is, hey, there are all of these districts out there who for a period of time, 5 years, 10 years, whatever the period of time needs to be, have filled their school readiness slots 100%. That might be great feedback for them to hear as they're imagining the future, whatever that means.
Right.
Because I mean, if it's not right, so the squeaky wheel, but if you're a fully functioning wheel, but you still have needs, then how do you get heard, right? Oh, look, we're doing great. Oh no, we could use a lot more school readiness slots. So that's
kind of
space
where
to be
we've
in.
been.
Yeah,
That's kind
yeah.
of where we've been. Because even when, years past, every time I tried to allocate for additional spaces, I was like, we have these centers, we have these families. And again, because we're not a priority district, they were
Right.
just kind of like, oh, okay, we'll see what we have. So every time that we have asked for spaces when they are available, we've always gotten anything that we've asked
Good.
for. So I think that's pretty cool. But
Great.
to say in like the 5 years that we've doubled our school readiness budget, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's super great.
Yeah. Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
So I think I see in the chat, there's an issue that's been brought up. So I think because it's not on the agenda, what we would have to do would be to vote to reopen public comment at the end of the meeting, after we address all the other things.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's just like the Robert's rules of it all. And if someone knows better than that, please make it make sense.
Okay.
Thank you, Kitty. That's what I was actually going to say as well. We would have to vote to bring up the topic.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question about school readiness?
Sure.
It's Mary Ann from Child Labs. I got booted out of the meeting for a minute, so I turned my camera off to see if that would help my connection. But anyway, I have a family who's receiving care for kids and they have a really low income. Can they also apply for school readiness, or is that like double dipping?
They can. Yeah.
It's actually encouraged through the OEC.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So yeah, so that's we jumped around a little bit. That was one of the other OEC updates we had, but a very exciting update. We're really excited to have these new slots and expect that within the next few weeks they will be full, because we have that need. So it's really great. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, so should we vote now to continue funding these centers? Yes. So we'll go through. Someone need to make a motion, or do I just present it? Yes. Okay.
I can make a motion. Is that what you're nodding your head, Sarah, that someone should make a motion?
Yep. So Shami would make a notion to, and then we could use the wording that I had used earlier. So we're going to make a notion and we can just start with CCC. So Shami would make a notion to approve CCC's fiscal
Motion.
year 24 school readiness funding as submitted for the school readiness grant.
Okay, so moved. And I'm not gonna recycle it, but we're talking specifically about CCC at this moment, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Excellent. Thank you, Kathy. All in favor? Okay, excellent. Let's go on to Jocelyn. Which center do you think next?
Let's do Mansfield Discovery Depot next.
Okay, great. Can we get a motion? Same, we're going to use the same phrasing. I have to be honest. Let's just go back. If you don't mind, when you're taking the minutes, go back for the exact motion wording.
Yes.
Yep. The exact motion wording would be like as I stated it, and I believe that, yeah.
Sure.
Perfect. Can we get, will someone make the motion, please?
Sure.
Thank you, Kathleen. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Shamim. All in favor? Excellent. Thank you. Going on to the third center.
Third center, Mount Hope Montessori School.
Excellent. Do we have a motion?
Someone other than me.
I motion. So
Yes, Emily.
Thank you, Emily. And a second? Thank you, Shamim. All in favor? Excellent. And going on to the fourth center.
And then our fourth and final center, Yukon Child Development Laboratories.
I make the same motion.
Thank you, Kathleen. And a second? Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. All in favor? Excellent.
Great.
So that is all approved.
Great. So the application itself is due to the OEC on May 4th, but Sarah and I are going, like I said, to go through it tomorrow. I assume it will be done and wrapped up and ready to be submitted tomorrow. So if that feels good to everyone, we can also submit that application tomorrow. Yeah, great.
That's fantastic.
Okay, that's it for Grantland. Other OEC updates. So we went over the additional slots. The centers that did have ARPA funding available to them to apply for, I have submitted that application. I haven't heard anything back on that yet, but I did receive confirmation that whoever did apply, they received their applications and all of the necessary items for that. So I'll be in touch with that once I know more. And then this week, I also received the application for the enrollment-based grant for child daycare and school readiness funded programs. That is due to the OEC April 14th. And that is all for me to do. Looking at it, I would submit that based on the information. So for that, to qualify for that, programs that currently receive funding from the OEC through a child daycare contract or a school readiness grant and attests that greater than 50% of the children enrolled in school readiness and child daycare funded spaces across all program sites live at or below 300% of the federal poverty level. So that is the guidelines for submitting for that. So I will get that done before April 14th. And that is it for relevant OEC updates right now. Moving to the next, which is recruiting parent MAC members. I know a lot of folks here in our MAC meeting kind of wear multiple hats for their roles, but I would really love to get more parents involved. And, you know, more specifically too, I was wondering if any of the centers that are a part of MAC had families in mind at their centers that they think might be a good fit to join our MAC board. I think just getting more people who are really invested in early childhood. And I think, you know, parents are really the point person and know their children the best and how we can serve them in our community. So if we can really get going on that, I have an email that's already been drafted and just sitting in my drafts in my email, kind of just hoping and wondering like, how are we going to go about this? I went over with Sarah how to request new members to be added to MAC. So if anyone has a good person in mind that they think might be interested, I can reach out to them or you can send them along to me and we'll get that process moving. But I would really love that. I would really love more parents. So that's that for that. And then monitoring visits. They were so wonderful. It was so much fun. I loved it so much. It was really cool. I hear Sarah say all the time, and you know, many others too, that Mansfield is just so lucky to have so many wonderful high quality centers. And the statement that all of our centers are so high quality and amazing, yet so unique and different was so true. And just sitting there and watching, the one thing, two things actually that, stayed really consistent was their high quality and that the staff care and love these children at all of these centers. And every center I went to, every child was so engaged and so happy, and it just felt so warm and welcoming. And, I did have a few little feet wander their way over to me with whatever they were playing with to try to strike up a conversation at the Montessori school. I had one little buddy who was just making me food and following me all around the classroom wherever I positioned myself. So it was really fun. It was really sweet. The only things that there were minor things noted at the centers that we noticed that needed improvement, like building up the mulch underneath fall zones on the playground. That's pretty typical this time of year coming out of winter. That's usually a spring maintenance thing. Repairing some paint on some outdoor equipment that was chipping off and rusted. And then the overall consensus I've heard from centers was that they were having a really hard time finding good pre-literacy professional developments for their staff. And that is one of the school readiness kind of guidelines that they want to see from the centers. So I've been in connection with some folks at AQIS and the OEC to try to get some of those professional developments in the works for next year so that these centers can access what they want from them. So I've been scouring the internet and looking for different opportunities. So if any of you come across any really cool pre-literacy webinars or professional developments, feel free to send them my way and I can connect the centers to that. So those were our action plans we made for all of those minor things, and they should all be resolved before the next visit, which will be in June.
So I a couple of the hallmarks of the Montessori methodology, right, are grace and courtesy and care for others in the environment. And I just love, Jocelyn, that you got like the full on care and grace and courtesy. Oh, that's just warms my little Montessori heart.
Mm-hmm.
So glad you had that experience.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, we have a group from the communications program who comes with a faculty member to do pre-literacy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a program they use, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I didn't think of sharing that specific name with you when you visited. But that's something I could share because I think it would be accessible to other programs, to do on your own.
That would be amazing. Please send that along to me. That'd be great.
I'm gonna make myself a note.
Okay, great. Thank you. And that was it for monitoring visits for me. So Denise, if you want to turn it over to our librarians.
I feel silly because you just did, but yes, I will turn it over to Emily and Rachel, our children's librarians.
All right. Hi, everybody. Again, thanks for having us. Rachel and I are going to be just giving updates at each of these meetings, which I think is a great opportunity just for us to all keep updated on what's going on at the library. So over the past 5 working days, I visited 5 different centers around Mansfield and did story times with a lot of the preschool classrooms and some of the toddler classrooms. And so that's been really amazing for me to get to see all those centers and see our kiddos there and have people say, oh, I saw you at the library. And hopefully I'll have more kids coming into the library saying, oh, we saw you at school. That's just a really fun thing to have, a good connection. So I'm hoping to get to a few more centers soon and schedule a few more things like that coming up. But next week, we're going to be quite busy during April School Vacation Week with a bunch of special events happening during that week. Some of them are a little bit targeting more of the elementary age since they'll be out of school. But we're also, all of our programs all the time are open to all families. And some of them are really great for little ones as well. So you won't really be able to see this, but I brought our flyer of April programming, which has these 6 different special events. You can go on our website to find that information. But I'll just go through them real quick. On this Saturday, we have a soccer event, and then we have animal science with Ranger Bill on Tuesday. We have a spaceship concert on Wednesday. We have hula hooping on Friday, and we have ballerina stories next Saturday. So there's a wide range of different programming, something that'll interest all kids, hopefully. And we're really excited to see how that goes during this April school vacation week. This is Rachel and I, this is our first year here with Mansfield. So we'll see how it goes to have all those extra things going on. And we're working with a lot of great community partners to host and provide those different services. So we're definitely excited about that. What do you think, Rachel? What else? What other updates do we have? Any other things?
I don't know. I think that was our biggest update, all of our events for next week.
Yeah. Oh, I was just remembering we'll be at the community center's Earth Day event in 3 Saturdays from now. So we'll be at that and looking forward to other spring events as well. Yeah, that's probably mostly our updates. Does anyone have any questions about the library we can answer while we're here?
Not a question, but I will just add for everyone else too.
Okay.
I did take a visit. I totally forgot to say this too.
Yeah, I forgot too.
To the library for the very first time. I stepped into this role in February, but I had been very active in the Mansfield community for years, and I've always heard such wonderful things about the library, and I finally got to see it, and I was just so blown away and amazed, and right online and track with who we are as Mansfield translating over to our library. So it was wonderful to see all of the resources that were available there. So, and Rachel and Emily were very welcoming and gave me a very wonderful tour. So it was great.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Yeah, thanks for coming by. If anybody else wants a tour, just shoot us an email. We love to have visitors. So yeah. All right. I think that's the end of our updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's always exciting to hear how much is going on. So that's fantastic. So we are going on to item 6, which is the closing and upcoming agenda items. And I'm going to turn it back over to Jocelyn to talk about the upcoming item.
Yeah, so for those of you who were at our last MAC meeting, you might recall Kathleen mentioning to me about a trauma-informed care kind of training, multiple trainings that could be available through Access. So I did connect with Ian Matthew Harrington, who is the point person for that. He has worked so hard on these trainings. Just our short 30-minute meeting that we had together, so much information and all great information. So I did invite him to come and talk at our next MAC meeting for just to kind of go over again, like that 30-minute kind of demo he gave me to just see if any of our members in our community are interested in doing that training. And Kathleen was saying, next fiscal year with our QE money that we have, we could look to get some trainings with that done. Kathleen also offered to answer any questions that people might have tonight, but I don't want to steal too much of Ian's spotlight for next week and give away too much information. But they are 90-minute informational trainings not for next MAC meeting, but if you were to sign up for this professional development. And I think right now there are 4, Kathleen, that he has. Yeah, and 1 in the works. But they are all amazing. And the goals of this is to include training and coordinating with businesses, programs, and educators to join in the quest to establish a healthier, more inclusive and understanding community. So I think this is the kind of work that we can all be forever learners for. And it was really cool to sit in this meeting with Ian because there were people from the Willimantic Food Co-op and just so many different roles of people that this training can apply to and benefit. So I think it would be really worth it and really valuable for us all to just kind of hear about it and see if that's something that our centers want to explore, or our librarians or whoever. So it's really cool training. So I did invite him for that. So he will be here next meeting with us.
So one of our potentially like not so obvious partners in this is we have delivered a considerable amount of this training to the Northeast Family Federal Credit Union. So, bankers, right? Financial institution people, and they have participated a lot in our TIC training. So it's pretty well constructed for a wide sector of organizations and people.
Yeah. And I could just tell too, like Ian, this is like his baby. This is like have been a labor of love and such hard work over the years. So I'm really
so much
excited.
so that when you construct the agenda, Denise, 30 minutes. That's all he gets.
Yeah.
Trust me, it could go on for days. No, yeah.
It could,
yeah.
yes. So I did tell him, I said, we'll schedule you in for 30 minutes. So
30
he
minutes.
has that, he has that slot. So
I promise to help out.
Thank you both so much for putting that together. I think that really sounds like such a great opportunity. So
Yeah.
I know I'm definitely looking forward to next meeting and sort of hearing him talk. So thank you. So before we adjourn, if we can get a motion to reopen item 3, the public comment, so that Brian can address his concern and talk what he brought up in the chat. So may I get a motion to reopen item 3?
I could do that.
Thank you, Kathleen. May I get a second? Thank you, Shamim. Okay, so public comment has reopened. Brian, the floor is yours to discuss with us.
Thank you for taking my comment tonight. My name is Brian Coleman. I live at 26 Center Street, Mansfield Center, Connecticut. I am a resident and I'm also on the town council. I also want to give you a little background on my expertise in well drilling. I used to drill wells for many years, and I know what's involved in the process of drilling a water well, and I also know what can go wrong. So let me bring the concern forward. Peter Dart and Ryan Ellsworth sent out a letter today saying that the water has elevated levels of copper in it and it's not potable, okay, which means it's not drinkable. So all the children have to bring bottled water to school. In this brand new $50 million school, we got to bring water on the first day. That site, 134 Warrenville Road in the old Southeast School, does have a history of water contamination over the years. There was volatile organic compounds found in early 2022, elevated levels of lead, a couple other microelements. And there's also the concern of the close proximity of the old landfill and the Mansfield dump located on Cemetery Road. I believe I wrote this committee probably somewhere after the volatile organic compounds were found in early 2022. I don't know if anybody received my email.
No, that was me, Brian.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to shed up some possibilities of this copper contamination problem. Sediment has been found in the water. They need to install a filtration system to remove the sediment. Now, sediment getting in the well is usually not a good sign. It may be a sign that the well is not sealed in the bedrock. You case off all the groundwater and the overburden, and then you set the casing into the bedrock, and that's where your drinking water comes from. If sediment and surface water happen to get in there, that changes the chemistry of the well water completely. Historically in that area, the groundwater is very corrosive, and it could very well release copper from the plumbing into the supply. So my concern is they're listing this as a normal thing due to new construction and new copper plumbing. But my concern is it may be something more. And it may be related to the intrusion of the groundwater. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just say, I mean, I'm not certain. I would need to double check. I think that the quality of the water would probably be beyond this committee's mission, but we can definitely take that and address it and sort of redirect it to the school building committee and the Board of Education. That would be my guess, that those would be the two committees that particular problem should probably be addressed to.
And it sounds like the right folks have already addressed the issue. If there's been that joint letter from the town manager's office and the superintendent's office. So I suspect it sounds like they're fairly aware of what those are and are monitoring them. If there's anything else that you're looking for this committee to do, or was this just kind of keeping folks in the loop?
Yes, Charlie?
I think Brian was just more bringing it up as an informational thing and keeping you in the loop. You know, you are advocates for children, and therein lies the information.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much then. It's always good to have information sort of brought from a variety of sources and shared widely. So thank you very much. All right. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up before we adjourn? Oh, yes, Shamim.
I just want to remind the centers that we are doing our pre-K screening for Child Find May 24th, 25th, 26th. You should all have flyers. And it'll be, you know, they just have to call the school, make an appointment. And of course, you know that if there are students in your centers that you have some concerns about, you can always call me. Our team comes out, we just do some observations and then, you know, take it from there.
Really quickly, I want to add too, as many of you are aware, I don't know if you've met Allison Maynard, our new director, but she's been pretty awesome about wanting to do some really great outreach to kind of explain all the services that we do between human services, youth services, and adult services in senior services. So we've been making a lot of little infographic cards, the little rat cards, and they have QR codes on them that kind of link families to our web pages and some of our bigger services that we offer. And then on the back of the card is just where people around this area can find food and access to food. So it lists local food pantries, food share, and some other places where they could go. So if any of your centers want those, if any of you want any of these sent to you, let me know, because I'm kind of the one in charge of ordering them and I can get them to you. Like Emily, I'm already going to drop some stuff off at the library, but they're great to have available for families. And again, we're just really trying to just roll out as much information as we can on programs. So just stay tuned to our website. We're going to get as much stuff up there as we can on just different policies and programs that we have that a lot of, you know, maybe people don't necessarily know that we even have.
And just to piggyback on the work that Sarah and Allison have done in putting together those infographics, they also specifically did put one together for E.O. Smith in Region 19. So it isn't Mansfield only services, because we know that within our centers, within our library, we have a lot of folks from the surrounding communities who are also looking to access services. So this includes points of information for those major sending districts, Willington, Ashford, and Mansfield. So those also exist, which will be helpful around that. And then I'm going to throw out a plug linking Region 19 into an upcoming event that we do have, particularly if anybody has any parents in their centers who might be interested, because maybe they have older kids, or any staff in the centers are interested because you are, you know, adults who are working with youth. We are hosting a hidden in plain sight training at E.O. Smith this month, April 19th. That's at 5:30 in the evening. That is open to any adult in any community. It's free of cost, and it is an in-person training event that is designed to help train, like I said, parents or adults who are working with youth to recognize signs and symptoms of substance use, ways that our youth might be hiding those things in their bedrooms from things that are easily purchasable from different stores that many young people have access to. So please do, if you haven't already seen the flyers, help get the word out. We would love to have as many adults in our community have this information to help keep our kids and community safer, and kind of getting into that prevention mode as early as we can, we know is a big thing.
Great, thank you all. Does anyone have anything else that they would like to share? All right, great. I would just put out, because I know at the start of the meeting, there was mention of lots of upcoming events. So I would say we should all just check all of the community calendars. So there's lots, it's the start of the spring, tons of stuff coming up. So just check those calendars and join in where you can. But with that, I think we can adjourn this meeting. It is 6:12 p.m. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.